Well, here we are again. Thanks for watching. Daryl here, Sweet Hot Rods and Honey. And we're still working on the 51 Ford pickup. So we've been stripping paint, we've been prepping firewall, working on the fuel tank back there, somewhere back there. But today, it's gonna be trying to salvage this hood. And looks pretty bad. From the top side, it's a little bit worse on the underside. It's got all kind of undercoating and crap sprayed on there, so that's a little bit tougher to get off. But we're gonna work on getting the top side a little bit cleaner. And I started with this using a flap sander here. But I mean, it's coming off. It's gonna be fine. So there's good metal under there. I don't know if that's a patch or if that's just worn out paint. But let's get to cleaning this up. Before we start on the real dirty, crappy, grimy, awful, dusty stuff, I'll show you what we've done. I've got a few coats of body filler on top of self-etching primer. And so I've got to do a little sanding there, do a little bit more touch up with some Bondo body filler. And that's fine. I've not gotten to the driver's side yet, but I may pull the truck out, turn it around, and get the driver's side over on the inside so I can get to it better, because I've got stuff sitting here, my wife's plants and things, so I don't want to get those all mucky with dust and junk. We're still in a process of working on the fuel tank. I've got straps made to support the bottom side, and it's a fuel cell. So that's coming along. I've decided I think I'm going to mount the battery back here. I'd like to actually mount it on that side and run on the passenger side and run my battery cables up to the engine on that side. But this rear end, there's an offset to the center. I mean, it's centered wheel-wise to the frame. I don't have it welded in there yet, because I've got to get the right angle on the differential, and I've got to wait until the engine goes in. But anyway, I want to get that battery over there. There's not quite as much room on that side compared to this side, frame to drive shaft. So I may end up mounting it behind the driver's side, either back here or up here. I don't know. I'm hoping that it would not interfere with anything in the suspension. Well, it's not going to, but I would like to mount it back there just to keep the whole engine bay cleaner. Certainly not going to mount it inside the cab, but I think we've got enough height, because these step notches are here. I may bring the battery slightly up. So I don't know. Depends how Depends how the boards may end up lying on this bed, and also how high the tank is back there. I'd like to keep everything as low down to the ground as possible so that I can have a nice flat bed and have, you know, a kind of like a tubbed inner fender that would hide these step notches. Those step notches are probably too large for this amount of drop on the frame. If I had airbags, then they would make more sense, but I don't know. With these leaf springs, it's just not dropping as low as it could. But I kind of like the stance where, you know, we're in good shape there. It's probably 8 inches. So when the truck gets loaded, it's all gonna drop. Cleaned up some of the firewall inside, and I ordered some interior upholstering for the bench seats. I was debating about putting in bucket seats, but I'm going to use the original bench, and so I'm ordering things through a company out in California, and so that's that'll be showing up in, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks, whatever it takes. Also, engine and transmission have to be mated together yet. It's ready to be mated. And when I pulled this engine and tranny apart, there was a crack across this flywheel. And I welded it, ground it, and I think it will stay. I'm kind of curious why it broke there to begin with, but I may have to get another flywheel. I don't know. I'll have to check around to see what's available. Nothing high performance, just a standard stock flywheel. So that's that. And what else? I'll be continuing underneath here. I've got to still sand the bottom of the cab and get it painted. I've got some patches finished here. I still have to work on the bottom of the doors. And I was debating about getting the bottom sill of the doors. It doesn't look bad from the inside, but on the very bottom, it's rotted out as expected. And you can't really see it, but it's rotted up in here. So I'll be putting patches on there. So that's a little update on the whole truck. All right, now it's time to get dirty and grimy. Let's get you focused here. Get our gas mask on here.
Sounds drive.
Go. We got the majority of the top side. We got to open up these doors to get some air in here. All right, so I've got about 80% of the top side of this hood done, and I'm gonna tip it up and do these sides, but I just want to clean up some of this dust for now. It is, it's not healthy to breathe. In fact, I should not even have this respirator off, but we're getting some nice fresh air blown in here. All right, so I'm going to finish this up and I'll get back with you. Well, part of the mess is over. I guess I'd say half. But now we can get a good look at this hood and see how bad it really is. Here's some of the original paint that was on there. I've got to take off this trim and then so I can get in there. Those two big blotches that were in the middle, I can see why. There's a nice deep crease here. And there's a little bit of a dip in it here. Up in this spot, there's a crease. And this side isn't too bad. So I think there was another spot over on the driver's side. I can't really tell. But anyway, that's going to have to get hammer and dollied out. I think I can get that much better. Still is going to need body filler in there, but it's not going to be as deep. This one is really deep. They just never bothered to do anything with it except fill it in. So anyway, not bad at that point. We've got to do repairs on here. There's a spot right up here at the front. That's got to be fixed. I'll ground down, put a patch in there. And then kind of the same thing on the driver's side. This has to be patched. This brace, I don't know if I'm going to take the brace off to do it or not. And then up here at that same spot towards the front, it's a little bit bad. So when I took the hood off the truck, on the back edge where it met the cowling, it seemed to be bowed out a little bit, and that may be from the hood hinges. I don't know. But you know, I was considering just buying another hood from Midwest Early Ford. And I think they were right around $1,200. I'm still on the fence about that. I still might do it, depending on if I can get the bottom side of this hood nice and clean. You can't really see it here. Well, you can a little bit. It's caked with undercoating, and I want to get that nice and clean, but I don't want to heat it up and distort any of the metal. The best way, well, not the best way, but one way to get this undercoating off is to heat it up with a heat gun and then scrape it, and then eventually sand it. But I don't know. I'm going to give it I'm going to flip it over and we'll take a look at it closer. Here's the door room. This thing isn't the lightest. let me show. So the bottom side is full of undercoating. I was able to scrape some off with a putty knife the other night, but this is pretty thick and I don't think it's going to come off as easy. So I guess the first thing I'm going to do is try to dolly out that big dent and see how that turns out. Can't tell where that other one, that one might be right across there. See how that turns out. The bottom side, as far as rust goes, man, this thing is just caked with undercoating. As far as this bracket, I might be able to pop it out so I can get access to the bottom side. I can take out this bracket that rests on top or is in the area of the radiator. I've got to get some PB Blaster in there to help loosen those rusted bolts up, screws. And then we can start to straighten things out. I guess I'll make a final decision closer to the time that the spring Carlisle car show is going to happen, because yeah, so Midwest Early Ford's always at the Carlisle spring and fall show, and I'll just maybe order the hood and then have them bring it to the show and I can pick it up at the show. It'll certainly save a lot of freight costs. I did that with the fenders and the box of the pickup, and that worked out really well. I took up my little trailer. My wife helped me wheel it over towards the car. So I'm going to continue to try to clean this bottom side up of the hood and investigate what it takes to get this cross member bracket off. It looks like it's welded in there, so I may not mess with it. Oh, I don't know. We'll see what happens. To get this front bracket off, and I'll clean that up. Put that to the side. After looking at this back brace, I think it's doable to get it off, peel that up, and it looks like there's some welds that are put into each side, but the problem is right here at the center of the hood. They've got this fastened, and I don't know if I want to mess with that. So I'll have to think about that. It may not be a big deal based on where these welds are, these spot welds, but I can't really tell. So I don't really want to cut them here just to get the bracket off, but it really would be nice if I could get behind all this bracket to get some nice clean metal there. So we'll see what happens. In the meantime, I'm going to scrape this undercoating off as much as I can. And in the front, I've got this trim, this molding that I had to put some PB Blaster on. There's a total of 4 bolts or screws that hold that in. And hopefully I can get them out without too much trouble. If they don't come out with PB Blaster, let that soak for a while. I'll put a little bit of heat on it with a propane torch. That should not induce too much heat, so I don't think it's gonna warp up here in the front anyway. So that's what we're doing next. Well, we're getting there. It's a slow process. This undercoating is coming off a little bit easier than I expected it to. If I wasn't so cheap, I'd have somebody else do this and pay them for it, but it wouldn't be worth it. Or maybe I should just get the new hood. Nah, let's keep suffering. Got it pretty clean, and I decided I'm going to take off this bracket. So I got these pieces cut, and when I put it back together, I'll probably have to make an L bracket and weld it onto that piece and then onto the brace. But the trouble I'm having is getting these. Hey, that's all loose because of rust. That's got to be rebuilt. But really, where I'm trying to struggle is right here. This fold over is pinching the bracket, and I think there's a couple little spot welds in there. So, got to get the grinder and grind out those little welds. But for now, I'm tired. It's gotten late, and it doesn't look too bad. Yep, I'm going to bed. All right. Well, it's been a couple days and I haven't gotten back to this hood yet, but I have this morning, and I think it's I've got it successfully disassembled so that I can get at all the different nooks and crannies. But while I've got you here, just wanted to say thanks again for all the subscribers and anybody that's been watching and can appreciate the videos. We're approaching 600 subscribers, and we'd like to try to get there by sometime in March. So if you could, consider hitting the subscribe and like buttons and the notification bell. And I'm going to be putting out more videos, certainly of this build on the 51 Ford pickup. And in the past, we've done the 55 Chevy. And so there's more to be done on all my vehicles. I have a 34 Ford Coupe, which you've seen on the top of my rack. The 51 Ford, I've got a 61 Chevy square body pickup truck, Fleetwood or Fleet side design, and so I enjoy making these videos, and I really appreciate when you guys enjoy it and get some information out of it too. So I digress. All right, getting back to the hood. I could get these pieces loose because they're rotted out on both sides. But what was holding me up were these standoffs that connect this brace to the hood skin. So I used a combination of a Sawzall and also my grinding wheel, the Death grinder. Then I found out that at this connection back here, the skin of the hood is folded over, and they've got some spot welds in here holding it all together. So I had a heck of a time getting these guys loose, and let me turn you around here to show you. So on this one, there were, looks like 3 spot welds. 2 that were really holding on to one that wasn't quite as strong. And then on this side, I had to booger it up a little bit. I had to cut into the skin a little bit, but that'll be fine. I'm gonna reuse this brace, and when I put it back together, I'll fold it over and I'll add some, I don't know, probably some epoxy. JB weld will work. But now this comes off, if I can get it off. All right, so this comes off. And let me set that in there. And you can see underneath this brace, it's pretty crusty. So I'm glad I got that off. Now, what I can do for these repairs, I can cut out the old junk and I can patch in a new piece of sheet metal, fold it over and make it pretty much like stock. I do that on both sides. And we got to straighten out getting this brace cleaned up. It's in fine shape. And it looks like some spider webs in there. What I did see was when I took this hood off the truck, it seemed like the angle of the joint where it joined up with the cowling was folded out a little bit. And I think the reason is somehow this hood got sprung. I can see a crease in this brace where it probably folded out and it popped this up. Same with the other side. So what I'm going to do is flatten it out. Maybe I'll add a little bit more beef to this. I have some round stock. I can put it in here and that'll help more support. And then bring this brace in closer to the inside on both sides. And then that way it will help pull in this hood. And then if it has to be adjusted out, if I do go too far, I can always, push it back out. But it's tough to get it to, if you try to spring it back in, it may not stay. So I'm happy to get this brace off. We can work on getting it cleaned up. And I'll get a flap disc sander on it, wire wheel, and then clean up the hood, start working on knocking out more of the dents. And yeah, so I think in general, I'm probably going to keep this hood and use this hood because I can get to all the places where it's kind of funky and fix, the bad spots. I got this one air dam part that goes in the front of the hood up in here. You can see where it goes. And I can clean that up. It looks like it's in good shape. So no rust, no holes. So yeah, I think I'll save myself probably about 11 or 1200 bucks. Today I'll finish working on the firewall, get it sanded down. It may take a couple more layers of some body filler to take care of the little dimples, but it is looking good. And then I'll get a coat of paint over that, or either epoxy primer or the self-etching primer, probably the epoxy that does the best job of sealing everything up. Finish up the hood, and that should do it for this video. Again, I really appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'm going to be doing plenty of more videos on the rest of this body. It's going to be a lot of body work. I'll probably jump back over to the driver's side and get it ground down with a flap disc sander and make more dirt. So, okay, we'll see you the next time.